And welcome to Crossroads Live. Today we are at the Fort Worth Live Stock and Rodeo Show, and we have with us a very special guest all the way from the B.O. Ranch. We have Mr. Buck Helton. Welcome, Buck.
Hey, Jim, how y'all are? Glad to see you again.
It's so good to see you. I haven't seen you since Christmas time.
That's right. We had a bunch of fun at the Gene Autry fans' Christmas party. And have you all aired that show yet?
That show has not aired, but it has been edited and will be on the air hopefully by this Christmas.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure glad that you come out to the stock show and pass a visit on us today. We've been out here doing the picking and poetizing thing. This is the 16th year of Campfire Tales at the Fort Worth Fat Stock Show and Rodeo. No fat jokes. And we are having much fun, and Mustang Mickey's going to be here in a little bit, and my buddy Bob Terry is going to pop in and pass a visit with us, and he is the only U.S. manufacturer left for them old-fashioned die-cast cap guns that we had when we was kids. He bought up all the old molds, and now, most appropriately, those Essence of Cowboy playthings are made in Texas by Texans.
So what you're trying to tell me is we made him a rich man.
I hope so. I'm trying to get him enough money where he can recreate the molds for the nickel stallions, because I want 2 of them, and the molds was destroyed before he could get them.
Well, I want to, before we go any further, I told you I had a special shout-out for you today.
That's right.
A shout-out. Anyway, the shout-out is from Cowboy Craig. You know who I'm talking about?
Oh, yes.
Cowboy Craig said for me to tell you that he really enjoyed you on Shotgun Red.
I tell you what, I've gotten a lot of mileage out of that show, and I'm looking forward to being back in Nashville in a few months and picking and grinning with the Time Jumpers and the folks over at the Ernest Tubb Record Shop, and just enjoying myself severiously.
That you also did the Marty Stewart show, right?
No, I was scheduled to go do the Marty Stewart show initially, but he had a couple of folks that he didn't think he was going to be able to get come in at the last minute, so I got bumped to next year.
Oh, well, there's next year.
Yeah, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Good,
well, those things happen.
Good things come to he who waits.
Okay, and we're waiting.
And Marty's worth waiting for.
Yes, he is. He's a fine fellow, I'll tell you. So you did a show.
I did.
Correct.
Oh.
Well, you did 1 or 2. Correct me if I'm wrong, with one of my all-time favorite singers, and you know who that is.
Yes. A couple months ago, I flew out to Reno, Nevada, and did a show for the Reno Wild Horse Foundation. Although actually, it wasn't in Reno; it was in Virginia City, which they had great cowboy.
You see any cartwrights out there?
Yeah, of course, we can't mention the name of the show because it's copyrighted.
Okay.
And we did it in the Piper's Opera House there in Virginia City, and I got to pick and grin with Lacey J. Dalton, and I still can't figure out how she fits that voice in that body, because Lacey is all of 5 foot nothing, and weighs about 98 pounds soaking wet with a roll of nickels in each pocket, and she opens her mouth, and this 17-foot tall, 800-pound voice crawls out.
Well, they say dynamite comes in small packages.
Well, boy, I tell you what, that is never more true there. And I got to go play at a barbecue at her house the next day for a thing for Lance Gilman, who's now one of the commissioners there in, don't ask me the name of the county because I can't tell you, but it's whatever county Reno is in. Okay. And we're going to be having fun tormenting all them government feeks that want to get in there and take our wild horses off the range and make Alpo out of them. And we don't appreciate that some at all. That's part of our Western heritage, and we need to let them run wild and free the way God intended.
Well, can I second that motion?
Oh, yes.
Do whatever we can to help. And but the thing about it is, well, I don't want to get political, but it seems like they're taking a lot of rights away from a lot of people.
Well,
and then when you start messing with my horse, now you got a problem.
yeah, it's like the only thing worse than somebody messing with your guns is somebody messing with your horses.
Oh, yes.
And I tell you what, if you have a moment, there's a poem I wrote the other day that kind of turned into a sort of a political rant. You can edit it out if you don't want to use it later. But it's called In Theory. I want to move to theory, where bumblebees can't fly. Most anything can happen there if you'll just give it a try. If it's crazy enough, it might be true. Don't ask the reason why, as the bumblebees go walking by in theory. Politicians there are honest and have your best interests at heart. We've got universal health care, and it's worked right from the start. Disarming people makes them safe, and school it makes you smart, as the bumblebees go walking by in theory. Now, criminals forego the law and don't commit illegal acts, and other things happen there, and once your brain you've racked, if the results don't fit your theories, then you simply change the facts, as the bumblebees go walking by in theory. The real world need not apply inside those hallowed halls. They prefer their ivory towers and their adamantine walls, ignoring once again the signs they're headed for a fall, as the bumblebees go walking by in theory. Soon, this house of cards will topple with a monumental thud, and then their failed ideas will be dragged there through the mud, and the crowd that now is cheering will be screaming for their blood, as the bumblebees go walking by in theory.
And only on Crossroads, and we'll be right back.
Today I'm out here with my pal Danny Boy, and we have a message for you from the American Lung Association. If you don't smoke, don't start. And if you do smoke, find a way to stop. Now, we know that it's not easy, so check with your doctor. He'll be the first one who'll be glad to help show you the way. Now, for a better quality life and a longer life, stop smoking today. So, for me and Danny, to all of you, good luck, God bless, and here's hoping we see you at the Crossroads.
And welcome back to Crossroads Live. I'm sitting here with Buck, the big man Hilton. All right, man, tell me something. I know you got a lot of things coming up this year.
I do indeed, and probably the first thing, judging from about the time this ought to air, is I will be out in Benson, Arizona, at the Crossroads Cowboy Gathering, and you can visit our Facebook page. Just look up Crossroads Cowboy Gathering on that, and it'll tell you all about it. And I finally get to go and tour Prescott, which is right next door, and get to see the Syrie Pete's and walk down Whiskey Row. And I've looked forward to that for many years. I don't drink, but it's hysterical.
I would like to throw in some Prescott, Arizona. We aren't talking about,
Yeah,
because isn't that where they shot Junior Bonner?
I think they shot him in several different places.
That movie was shot, and because I knew Bob Preston, and they shot that movie with Steve McQueen out there. And
hard to find
film.
stars of that caliber anymore.
No, there's not, and but we don't want to go there. So anyway, So what else is coming up for you?
So, well, I'm also going to be out at Santa Clarita doing some things out there for this year's. Also, we have the second annual Spirit of the Cowboy coming up October 12th and 13th.
Yes.
Okay. And Robert Fuller is going to be back out here from Laramie.
James Drury.
James Drury. The Virginian himself will be there. And several other folks as well, Ken Farmer, Buck Steinke, and also a very, very cute little female lady woman that's done a lot of westerns, and was also, for those of you that are sci-fi buffs like me, was Sheba on the original Battlestar Galactica.
And what was her name? What is her name?
Well, I told you her front name is Anne.
Anne. Oh, okay. I don't know who we're talking about. Totally honest. How about that for honesty? Roberta Shore going to be there?
Roberta Shore will also be there, as well as several other folks from the Virginian. And I'll be there. Mustang Mickey, who you'll see here in a little while, will be there, and several of us as well. And we're going to see if we can possibly talk. Scott Mendez and Mo Hedricks and some of our running buddies from up here coming out there.
Well, we had an experience with Mrs. Scott there at one time. You want to tell everybody about that?
And so we did indeed. Now, I still hadn't heard anything back from these folks, so I don't know if anything will ever come of it or not, but they called me and asked me to put together a bunch of cowpokes for Season 2 of the American Bible Challenge with Jeff Foxworthy. And being as to how I didn't know how many folks would actually show up, I wound up calling about 30 people, and we descended on them with about a half a dozen of us. And I didn't, I think you disqualified us when you were quoting from 2 Hezekiah and Edsel.
Edsel, yeah. I did, yes, I did. And but the thing about it, I realized that the crazy thing about that is my co-host Pam Seal, who I remembered some of the questions, and a couple of nights later, I'm talking to her, and I'm telling her the questions that they asked us, and she knew all the right answers. We should have had her there.
Well, besides everything else, I could have gotten another smooshing. It's like, Pam, if you're watching this, you owe me a hug.
Good luck.
Well, I like her because, she's cute and she has a giggle box that's easy to tip over.
Yes, it is.
And by the way, I looked up something the other day, and you were almost correct.
Almost.
You remember one of the questions was true or false. David was unseated from his donkey by a rock. And that was true, but the problem is you answered it as he was stoned off his ass.
That's true. All right. I'll tell you what. I know that you are a man of poetry. You write a lot of great poems, and you got one for us.
I do indeed. This is one of the things that I did out in Virginia City with Lacey J. It's called Wild Horses. See him open his stride as he chases the sun, heart and hooves making thunder on the plains. The king of the prairie, a symbol of freedom, wild as the wind that blows through his mane. Of proud Spanish blood, the old world's finest, with Cortez he sailed on the Spanish main, served conquistadors down south of the border, then crossed the wide river to Texas he came. Still called by the Spanish name El Cimarron, Mustango, or Mustang as he came to be known, friend of the cowboy and also the Indian, sire of the dun and the strawberry roan. Like earthquakes or fire, forest and flood, he's one of the West's primal forces, and may God in his mercy from heaven above grant there always shall be wild horses.
And with that, we leave you. Till next time, with the great Buck Helton.
Y'all be back. We'll stay tuned right.
For over 20 years, I've been interviewing the cowboy stars of film and television. Now I'd like to share what I've learned with you. Not just the easily researched information, but the true stories behind the films and the stars. My audiobook, Golden Nuggets Along the Old Hollywood Trail, lets you in on little-known facts, trivia, and stories of the Western stars and films from the beginning to today. If you're a fan of the Western genre, I'd love to share my stories with you, and here's how.
And welcome back to Crossroads Live. I'm sitting here with a good friend of mine. We have done several shows together now. Miss Mustang Mickey. How you doing, Mustang?
I'm fine, thank you. How are
Do
you?
they call it Mustang or the Mickey? Which one you go by?
I've gone by both, but preferably Mickey.
Mickey. All right, I'll call you Mickey. I was saying Miss Mustang, but, you know, what do I know? Why don't you do me a favor and introduce to me this beautiful young lady that's sitting next to you?
That would be my pleasure. This is my new harmony partner and an amazing, amazing fiddler and friend, Miss Leah Sawyer. She's awesome.
You want to say hello?
Hi.
So how did you get interested in Western music?
Well, we heard about Cowtown Autry, which is a group that Mickey is involved in. And so Mickey was just a big influence on my love for that style of music too. And so we started to listen to it and just hear it more and more often. And I loved it.
Oh,
Yes.
I can tell. I see a smile on your face. But I'm going to tell you, and of course I've known her a while now, but I wanted to tell you since we've just met, it does my heart good to see young people like yourself, like Mickey, who are doing so much good and becoming such. I know the work that must go into this, learning to play this, and I can barely play the radio. So there you go. But I wanted you to know I am so proud of you.
Thank you.
I am so proud, and you too, Mickey. I know you do it. You've done, great, And out of the cold blue, I got her one day good at the Christmas party. I had her do that song, and she wasn't expecting that, right? And it came, and she jumped right in there and played it. And Faded Love, right? Faded Love, and did a great job, by the way. And in fact, that is on the show. That made the show. So I'm very happy about that. And so y'all gonna do a little number for us, right?
Yep.
All right. What's the song?
This is Maiden's Prayer, written by Cindy Walker.
I met Cindy Walker. I did. I gotta tell you, she was inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame in Carthage, Texas. And we used to go because I knew the Ritter family. I knew Tommy Ritter Smith, who was Tex Ritter's cousin. Right. And so anyway, Tommy would invite us every year, and she used to be a guest on Crossroads Live. And she'd come and promote the deal they had in Carthage. So anyway, I was there, and she was on stage. She was inducted. So I don't know if you know the name Merle Kilgore. Merle Kilgore was a buddy of mine. And so Merle and I and a group of us all went out to dinner at a truck stop. We get to the truck stop, and who is there? Cindy Walker. And so we were there, and I got to meet her because she's one of my writing heroes. And I got to meet her, and she was so nice to us. And I really didn't know her, but I got to meet her, and I'll never forget it. So anyway, why don't y'all do a little number for us?
Okay.
There you go. I'll hold your microphone.
All right.
All right. Got it?
Twilight falls and evening shadows find there 'neath the stars a maiden so fair divine. Moon on high seems to see her there. In her eyes is a light shining ever so bright as she whispers a silent prayer. Every word reveals an aching, broken heart, broken by fate that holds them so far apart. Lonely there she kneels, they spoke not a word, still someone had heard and answered a maiden's prayer. And though they spoke not a word, still someone had heard and answered a maiden's prayer.
How about a round of applause, guys? Isn't that wonderful? Oh, man, I don't think I knew that song. That's wonderful, wonderful. And I'll tell you, I hate to ask this, but I'm going to ask you, see if you'll do it anyway. You did a song up on stage a while ago. That was so beautiful, the one that you two did together. Can y'all just do a chorus of that for our audience? You know what I'm talking about?
Which one was it?
You came up and y'all sang a song together.
I think it was Ropin' and Rider? Probably. Was it Ropin' and Rider or I Met
Yes.
Jesus in Texas?
I met Jesus in Texas. All right.
I met Jesus in Texas, west of Abilene. On my knees one night I saw the light in my boots and jeans. Never thought I'd meet a friend like that. In my wildest dreams I met Jesus in Texas, west of Abilene. I don't see how a man who lived 2,000 years ago could find me down in Texas, south of Amarillo. He came all the way from a town called Bethlehem to show how much he loves me and cares for who I am. I met Jesus in Texas, west of Abilene. On my knees one night I saw the light in my boots and jeans. Never thought I'd meet a friend like that. In my wildest dreams I met Jesus in Texas, west of Abilene. Never thought I'd meet a friend like that. In my wildest dreams I met Jesus in Texas, west of Abilene.
How about that, folks? You like that? All right. I'll tell you what. I wanted to ask you in closing was, what do you have coming up next? Where are you headed? And I know some big things happening for you guys. So.
Well, I think our next thing together is tomorrow night at a house concert featuring Barry Ward, being opened by Simple Gifts, Leah's family band, and myself.
Wonderful. Well, y'all are doing great work. I'm so proud of both of you. And are y'all going to be back at the Spirit of the Cowboy next year?
Yes, sir.
All right. And I know, and you're going to bring your partner?
I'm bringing her.
All right.
She's coming.
I'm looking forward to seeing you again. And we'll be seeing you at the Gene Autry. You do know who Gene Autry is?
I do.
All right. You do know Gene Autry?
I do, yes.
All right. Wonderful. She's growing up right.
She is.
Her mom and dad did good. All right. I'll tell you what. I want to thank you guys for taking time to be with us.
Thank you.
And I'm looking forward to seeing you at the next Gene Autry luncheon.
Sounds good.
All right. And see you too, huh? I made a new friend, y'all. Thank you, everybody. And thanks for watching Crossroads Live. We'll be right back.
Music speaks a universal language
and forms the soundtrack of our lives.
Brings joy, hope, and healing.
However, the future of music is in jeopardy.
Illegal downloading and file sharing have already cost
over 70,000 industry-related jobs.
And the U.S. economy loses $30 million a day.
Let's work together and keep the music playing.
Please download and share music responsibly.
To learn more, visit SaveTheMusicAmerica.org.
And welcome back to Crossroads Live. I'm sitting here with my good friend Mickey and my new good friend Leah. I got it right? Leah. And I hear some honors are going to be bestowed upon my good buddy here. Is that right? Tell us about it.
Well, I was nominated this past fall for Young Artist of the Year Award for the AWA, and also for Yodeler of the Year 2013. And this Saturday, in 2 days, is when the awards will be given out, so we'll see who wins those honors.
And I know I'm going to see a real nice big picture on Facebook or something of this, right? And we want to see that up there, and we're going to be so proud of you, and we're going to be rooting for you. And I'm very proud of you, getting a nomination. I know it sounds cliche and all that, but just getting there is an honor.
Yes, sir.
And you wear that honor proudly. And of course, I'm very prejudiced on this subject. I like these ladies. I want y'all to know that, and I'm very proud of them. And like I said, and once again, I'm going to say it again, I'm so proud to see young people doing such good work.
Wrote it. I actually learned it off of YouTube because he's been gone for about 25 years. Denver Darling took his song, and she said, hey, I like that. I'm going to change it, and I'm going to make it a girl's song. So this is her version. What was originally, I've just got to be a cowboy. Now is, I've just got to be a cowgirl. I want a hand-carved bed and a silver buckle set and a palomino pony to ride. A Stetson sombrero with 5 X's in the back and a pair of Shipley spurs and a great big patch of there. A pair of Justin boots I'll have with 7 rows of stitching, and then I'll get that flower shirt for which I've been an itching. And when they holler, ride 'em girl, I know that I'm really pitching, 'cause I just gotta be a cowgirl. I want a bright red scarf and a singing lariat and an old guitar to play as I ride. Well, and as I go riding, I'll go yippee yippee yay, and I'll learn to yodel too and go on here someday. I'll woo a western guy I know, and when I've got him landed, I'll wrap him in my lariat and love him single-handed. I'll rope the moon and stars and have my old Ford pickup branded, 'cause I just gotta be a cowgirl. Hey, just gotta be a cowgirl. I want a hand-carved belt and that silver buckle set and a palomino pony to ride. And old saddles and both are underneath the stars above, and I'll live the life of ease on the prairie that I love. I'll give pearl-handed 44s no comfortably with notches, and I'll ride a bucking bronco while that certain cowboy watches. I'll get a drawl and say howdy y'all, and even buenos noches, 'cause I just gotta be a cowgirl. I just gotta be a cowgirl. Well, I just gotta be a cowgirl. Thank you. That's awesome. It's like a big jam.
And welcome back to Crossroads Live. We're here with the Spirit of the Cowboy in McKinney, Texas, their very first festival. We're in the Delaney Mansion, historical site that was built in 1875. And I'm here with my co-host, Jim Hoffmeyer. What do we got going on right now, Jim?
Well, I'll tell you what we got going on. We have Mr. Robert Fuller with us.
Woo! All right.
And we it's an honor to have you, sir, because I am a big chess.
Well, it's my pleasure to be on Crossroads with the two of you, believe me.
Yeah.
Particularly this good-looking
Thank you. All right.
Why do you think I have
Maybe I'll get a date when this is over.
I can tell.
Yeah. Well, I got to have some advantage, man.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate that,
Yeah.
Jim. We talked earlier, and you said you had watched Laramie when I was doing it back in the old days. And,
Yeah.
It was a fun show to do, and I love playing the part of Jess Harper.
I'll tell you what. I want to ask you about one gentleman. I worked on that show by the name of Hoagie.
Hoagie Carmichael.
Yes.
Oh, my God.
am a fan. I love his music. He did a song. I got to tell you real quick, and then we'll let him go. Well, he did a song. I'm going to sit right down and write myself a letter. I love that song.
That's it.
He was a great songwriter and a wonderful actor and a neat man.
Yeah.
But he also wrote one of the most beautiful love songs that's ever been written, called "The Nearness of You."
Really?
Do you remember that one?
The Nearness of
The
You.
Nearness, a beautiful song. Yeah, it's a love song.
Oh,
But, no, he was great. He played the piano on the show, and he did all kinds of things. Yeah, it was fun working with him.
Yeah.
You know, he would have stayed longer with us, except he'd rather play golf. He honestly, he lived in Palm Springs, and he commuted from Palm Springs to the Universal Studios when he was working. His home was on the 9th hole of the biggest golf course in Palm Springs.
Oh, my goodness.
In Indian Wells Golf Course. And we usually have a 7:30 for 8 call in the morning, and we'd get there at 7:30, go in, make up, put our boots, Levi's, our guns on, appear on the set, and he wouldn't be there. And we'd wait till 8:30, 8:45, and finally they say, well, we better call, find out what's going on. And they'd call, and his housekeeper would pick up on the phone, and she said, no, he's not here. He's out on the 9th hole playing golf right now. He would forget that he had a call.
My goodness.
And have to hop in his car and drive all the way from Palm Springs to get up to work with us that day.
My goodness.
Oh, my God, what a wonderful story. There's something I needed to ask you about. This YouTube thing, that's out, that everybody sees.
I don't know a lot about that.
I want to ask you about the spoons. You play the spoons.
I do play the spoons.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, absolutely. I play them pretty dadgum well, too. I'll tell you a little bit about that. This is an interesting story. I played the spoons for a long time. My best friend Chuck Courtney played the spoons. Chuck Courtney played Dan Reed on the Lone Ranger television series, and we were best pals. And he played the spoons, and he taught me how to play. And it's always the learner that gets better than the teacher. And I learned to play the spoons pretty dadgum good. And he played the guitar. And when I was doing Laramie, first year we started Laramie, I wasn't making a lot of money. Of course, there was a lot of money in those days. I was making $650 a week.
That was a lot of money in those
per
days.
show. Well, not compared to what
they were
actors
getting,
do get. And, but anyway,
yeah,
that
but
was
back
great. That was fabulous. But the main point is, on our off time, because of the popularity of the show, all these actors would get asked to come and play all these different towns, Tweetsie Railroad and, rodeos and all that kind of stuff. So Chuck and I put an act together, 15 minutes. I played the spoons, he played the guitar. We did a fight scene and a couple of jokes, and they paid us $8,500 a week.
Jackpot.
To go on the
Almost
road.
time to go back.
Playing the spoons.
Playing the spoons.
I'm telling you.
I love it.
$8,500 a week for the two of us to play the guitar and the spoons 3 times a day.
I wish we had some spoons here. I
That's
would love to hear you do that.
I want to talk to you about one of my favorite movies. I have 2 favorite westerns in my life that I love. And one was The Magnificent Seven, and the other was Return of the Seven.
I happen to be in that one.
I want to ask you about the thing about it is because you played the McQueen role.
I sure did. Part of Vin, yeah.
Yeah.
Same part.
And the thing about it is, but you made it your own. You made it your own.
Oh, I would not dare try to imitate Steve McQueen or to reprise that role at all whatsoever. It's not in my nature whatsoever as an actor to try and even do something like that.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they didn't want me to, and I know that Yule didn't want me to.
No, I know that.
No.
I heard the story about
they didn't
putting up all the posters of McQueen.
Oh, yes, I did that. Oh, yeah. They didn't get along at all.
No, that's what I heard.
Unfortunately, but they were both fabulous actors.
Wonderful actors.
In their own different ways.
And I went back and I re-looked at those movies, both of them, several months ago, and I'm looking at them and I'm going, Yule was really wonderful in that part.
Oh, my God,
I thought he was magnificent. I mean, you watch him, his style and the way he moved.
He was the king.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it.
He was great.
He was a magnificent man. He was bigger than life.
Yeah.
Jean Cocteau, the great writer, director, producer, said of him, Yul Brynner must be mad to think he could be Yul Brynner. Which is just perfect. Yeah, really.
Yeah,
because he was.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you, I think, maybe I'm wrong, but you correct me if I am. Warren Oates in that movie?
Oh, of course. Warren Oates. You bet. Yeah, my old buddy Warren.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you what. He had a line. The first time I knew who he was, he was a regular on a show called Stony Brook with Jack Lord.
Yeah.
And he had a line, and I'm going to give it to you. It was, to me, one of the funniest things. He said, well, chickens one day and feathers the next.
Yeah, I know, you're right. Yeah, I got it. Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
I never, you know how you hear something and it stays with you? That stayed with me.
Yeah. And I also had Claude Akins with me on the record.
That's right.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
So these are 2 buddies of mine that had done lots of Laramies with me and Wagon Trains.
Yeah.
And here we are in Alicante, Spain, working with Yul Brynner doing that movie, having the time of our lives.
What about now? You went. I know you had a lot in your career, and you want to bring up one little thing about the dancing.
Well, I don't mind bringing it up. My gosh, my parents were dancers. My mother taught ballet when she was 16 years old. Taught a ballet class.
My.
When she remarried, my stepfather, who actually became my father more than anything, I didn't really know my first father that well, but he was in the Navy when they met, and my mother was dancing in nightclubs in Miami Beach, and I was in military school. I was 10 years old. And she met this sailor, and they fell in love, and my mother came to me at the military academy one day and said, I've met this man, and we're going to get married, and brought him out, and we met, and it was my dad, Bob. So she taught him how to dance. Mm-hmm. And eventually, he became an officer in the Navy, and she convinced him to leave the Navy and become a dancer with her, and they had an act together, plus when we moved to Key West, Florida, they had a dancing school, and my mother taught ballet to the kids in Key West in the morning, and in the afternoon, the two of them taught ballroom dancing to the sailors. There were 3 Navy bases, 3 naval bases, and you probably remember it in Key West in the 40s.
Yeah, right.
And so then finally, when we moved to Hollywood, it wasn't for me. I was only, I guess, 16 or so, whatever it was. But she wanted to get my dad in the picture business, and he went in as a dancer, and my father danced in almost every musical that was ever made with Gene Kelly, Fred Astaire, with all of. He's always in those big dance numbers, Oklahoma, all of them.
Oklahoma! That's
I love
one
Oklahoma.
of the best choreographed movies ever.
And he until the day he retired in the 80s, he danced in the musicals.
Yeah.
So consequently, when I got into business as an extra, I was making $12.05 a day, $12.05 a day as an extra, which was a lot better. I was working as the doorman at Grumman's Chinese Theater for 35 cents an hour.
Oh my goodness!
But I had met a bunch of people, and they said, "Come on, you got to get in the extra business." And I wound up in the extra business. So I worked that for a little bit. Then my dad's, here he is dancing. He's making $200 a week on these musicals that continue on. One dance number takes about 3 weeks of rehearsal and a week to shoot. So he's got a month at 200, and there's 3 or 4 dance numbers in the movie.
Right.
So he's working for 3 months. And he said, "You got to go on one of these dance interviews. You know how to dance a little bit, So the first one I went on was with Debbie Reynolds and Donald O'Connor.
Oh, my gosh.
Called I Love Melvin. And I got hired, and I danced on it. I worked for 3 months on a picture, did 3 or 4. I did a specialty number with Debbie.
Oh,
if you ever see it, you can see me real good.
Oh, I've got to go in it. I have got to go
dancing with Debbie, and I did two specialty numbers in it. I danced with Marilyn Monroe and Gentlemen Prefer Blonde.
Oh, my gosh.
I'm one of the guys that slide up to her with the diamonds.
Oh, I can't wait to see that.
I danced with Lana Turner and Ricardo Montalban and in Latin Lovers. So I did a lot of musicals.
Oh, my
But,
goodness.
I just turned 19, and the Korean War was on, and, of course, we were drafted. I got drafted at 19, and I immediately got sent overseas. I went to Korea for 17 months, came back from there, and that's when I got serious about acting, and some friends of mine introduced me to Richard Boone, who had not done he hadn't done Have Gun Will Travel yet.
Hadn't done it yet.
Not yet.
He did Medic.
He had done Medic, but I was overseas. I never saw Medic. That was 1954.
I used to watch it.
Yeah. So in 55, when I came home, they had convinced him to teach acting and put me in a class with him. And Dick said, "You got to stick with me. I think I can make an actor out of you." And I thought he was nuts. What? Hey, what do you think that? And he said, "Trust me, I can make an actor out of you." The rest is history.
Oh my goodness!
I owe it to him. Really, my career.
Oh.
And so you went from there to Wagon Train.
Well, after Laramie.
Yeah.
Laramie started this was 55. I started my first motion picture in 1956 with my buddy Chuck Courtney called Teenage Thunder. We were under contract to a little outfit, and we made 2 movies. Mm-hmm. And then in 57, I started doing more westerns, better parts. 58 was better. My God, I worked in every western there was in 58. And then all of a sudden in 59, they offered me Laramie. And then Laramie ran for 4 seasons, and when that ended, I went into Wagon Train. That's what you said.
Wow.
Did you not do, and I hope I got this right, didn't you do a bike picture, a motorcycle picture?
Absolutely.
Where you came from the war?
Absolutely. A movie called A Hard Ride.
Yeah, and this guy was married to a black lady.
Right.
I saw that movie.
The Hard Ride. It's a pretty darn good little movie. Yeah, The Hard Ride. I love doing that.
The Hard Ride.
I played a Vietnam veteran coming home. Yeah,
that
Sergeant.
Was a great movie. That was wonderful. I loved it. And didn't that lady go on to become some big executive?
Become what?
An executive, like in the studio.
Oh, I don't remember. No,
okay, I know.
Yeah.
I may have her mixed up with someone else.
Yeah.
And but no, that wagon emergency. How did that come about?
Well, because of Jack Webb. This is let's see, what, 1970 or 1971. Westerns are gone. There's not a Western on the horizon, but I still want to do one, right?
Exactly.
And because I just love doing Westerns. So anyway, my agent calls me on the phone one day and says, and I'd never met Jack Webb before. You know who I'm talking
yes.
about?
Dragnet. Yes.
So he says, Jack Webb is doing a new series, and he's interested in you playing the lead in it. And I said, really? I said, what's the name of it? And he said, it's called Emergency. And I said, that sounds like a medical show. And my agent said, it is. And I said, I don't want to do a medical show. I want to do a Western. And my agent said, Bob, there's not one on the horizon. Don't you understand? And this is not just an offer. This man wants you, nobody else in Hollywood, to play a character called Dr. Brackett on a series called Emergency. And I said, well, I don't want to do it. I want to do a Western. And my agent really got mad at me. And I finally said, all right, at least I owe the man the courtesy to go in and tell him face-to-face I don't want to do his series. And he said, well, they want to meet you after hours tomorrow night at the studio, Universal, my studio, where I did Laramie and Wagon Train. Jack had a huge, big office with a bar, and he ran that studio, and he had 4 or 5 series on the air at that time. And so I put a suit and tie on, and I went in. I finally walked into his room. All of the Universal brass are in there. It's after hours, 7 o'clock at night, and they're all having a cocktail. He's behind his big desk. And I walked in, and he said, Robert, he said, you know everybody here? And I said, yes, sir. I said, we've never met before, but I have to tell you right now, I am not interested in doing a medical series. And he said, shut up and sit down. And I went, like, what? He said, do you drink? And I said, yes. He says, go fix yourself a drink and sit down. I went over and made myself a big vodka. And I came back, I sat down in front of his desk. 2 hours later, I walked out of that office with 12 pages of a 2-hour world premiere movie to start shooting in 3 days with 15 episodes to follow it, sold.
Sold?
Yeah, already. Oh, yeah, he didn't mess around.
He didn't mess around.
Goodness.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Can you believe that I was dumb enough to tell that man I didn't want to do his series that ran for 8 years?
But anyway, that was great. I'll tell you what, we're going to take a quick pause. We'll be right back, okay? With Robert Fuller.
Howdy, folks. My name is Jim Huffpower. But today I'm out here with Danny Boy, out here at the Crossroads Ranch. My request is this. Have you signed up to be an organ donor? And have you talked this over with your loved ones so that they know your desires? That is a gift that only you and God together can give to those in need. So, till we meet again, good luck, God bless, and we'll see you at the Crossroads. Let's go, Dan.
And welcome back to Crossroads Live, and we are continuing our interview with Mr. Robert Fuller. This has been such a great interview. I'm
having a great time. You guys are dynamite.
You're the dynamite one right here. All these great stories. How did you end up back in Texas?
Well, as I said earlier, I wanted to get out of Hollywood. I wanted to retire, and I wanted to go someplace where I could have horses and fish and have a little bit of property. Without a next-door neighbor, staring in my window. So one of my dear friends is Alex Cord. He's an actor.
Alex,
he was, of course, you did.
Well, we both interviewed him.
Okay, so you did it. Well, anyway, Alex, I was the best man at his wedding. He was the best man at my wedding. And he got tired of Hollywood about 2 years before I did, and he moved to Valley View, Texas. And finally, he said, "Come on, you got to come down here and visit us." So Jennifer and I flew down, and we spent some time with him. We went into Gainesville for dinner one night on a Sunday, about 5 o'clock in the afternoon, kind of quiet. You know, there's only 15,000, and it's a small town, little town. We've been there 8 years now.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, we got out of the car and started to walk up to this little restaurant that's on the corner there, and all of a sudden I hear shotguns going off. And I went, "Man, that's a shot." I shoot a bunch. I do a lot of shooting, shotguns, pistols, whatever. And I said, "That's a shotgun." I walk around the corner, and there's a cop there shooting cracker loads to get the birds out of the trees.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, "Man, this is my kind of town. I can hear shotguns going off, but I want to live here."
That convinced you.
We came back again, and we started looking for property. We came back actually 3 times and finally found a ranch that was everything that I could possibly want.
That's wonderful.
It's a ranch. It's 32 acres. I got 2 ponds on it, one full of bass, one full of catfish. I got a great horse barn, and I got a workshop where I can put a
All right, the workshop. All right.
and a beautiful home. So we're loving it.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
And I've got a little horse place up here in Denton. And of course, we only have 13.5 acres, but it suits us. You know, it's good for us.
Yeah.
And, you know, I got 2 of my own, which I know you don't want to hear about.
Oh,
and,
Danny boy.
Danny boy and Becca. And they ride in the, like, Play-Day rodeos and stuff like that. And, yeah, you know, it's not professional stuff, but it's Play-Day. And I love to go watch them run. I got these little teenage girls that ride them, you know. And
that's great. That's great, yeah.
You know, and they both like one of them just became like the princess of the rodeo at Denton for the Denton State Rodeo, and the other one for another rodeo company. And so it's great to watch these kids grow up. I've been watching them for like 5 years, learning on my horses. Now they have their own.
Oh, that's a thrill. That's great to see. Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's wonderful when you see these kids out here and they bring their little friends and can they ride Danny boy? And because we used Danny in a movie a few years ago called Hero in the Rain, Danny and Becca. And so I tell everybody now, I went out in the field one day and they were both out there wearing sunglasses. And so the horses, you know. But let's talk a little bit about.
Those are great ways to bring kids up today.
Yeah, that's
believe me, a horse is incredible. It really is.
You know what? I have a godson that I used to take out to the ranch all the time with me. And so I came home, and my wife and I had a roommate that lived with Sylvia. And Sylvia was staying with us. And she said, "What are you doing? Roy Rogers and that boy?" I said, "I could do a lot worse. I could do a lot worse." I said,
you bet.
You know, and I said I could, you know, and I'll never forget that. You know, yeah, if that boy grows up and wants to be on horses, I'm gonna help him be there.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you.
And let's talk a little bit about someone I know you know that I know. Chuck Norris.
Chuck Norris. You know Chuck?
I met Chuck in 1981, and he was here to do a movie, and I went in to audition for it, and I met him at the audition. And so I wanted to do that movie because I wanted to work with Chuck Norris so bad.
Yeah.
And so my agent at the time and the company got to squabbling over money. I know you never heard stories like this. And but anyway, I wound up not getting to do the movie. And I told my agent, I said, "Peggy, I would have done the movie for free."
Absolutely.
And so anyway, years later, then I get a call from the casting director saying they want you on Walker. And so I worked on actually 11 episodes of Walker.
Wow, fantastic.
And I worked on Walker, and the thing, one was a 2-parter. And so that's 11, right? So anyway, that was 11. And we shot part of it here and then the part in Fort Worth. And but those people were very nice to me.
That's a great crew. The whole outfit was fantastic. He ran a good show.
Yeah,
without a doubt. So I've known Chuck. I met Chuck in the 60s, late 60s, when he was the world's champion karate guy at that time.
Yeah.
And we became friendly. And so years later, when he was doing Walker, and it turned out that my name came up for a part, I mean, he okayed it immediately. In fact, he was
sure.
responsible for every one of the ones I did.
Yeah.
And we had fun together. Yeah, it's a good show to do.
He was a wonderful man.
Yeah, he is. He's a great patriot.
Yeah.
Yes.
He really is.
He believes in America.
We need more people around like him.
When he was
Absolutely.
filming at the time, he was attending the church that I attended. That's how I met him.
Yeah.
And then my pastor, which was his pastor, Lawrence Kennedy at North Church, married him and Gina.
Oh, when he married Gina,
yes, when he married
sure,
Gina. Mhm.
absolutely, yeah.
He's great.
No, he's a great guy, and we. Walker, Texas Ranger was the last vestige of any type of a Western that was on the air. When he did the flashbacks to the
And
Western
go back
part,
into the old days,
and I mean did it well. I mean, we shot the hell out of people, didn't we? I mean, it was a good Western, I'll tell you. I love it when they're rough like that, you know. But no, that was fun stuff.
Oh, yeah,
absolutely.
that was a great
What do you think
show.
your favorite project was to do? I'm sure there's many, but
That I've ever done?
Yeah, what do you think?
Laramie.
Laramie
oh my
was
God.
definitely
the character of Jess Harper is the best character that I've ever been able to portray in my life. In fact, I am Jess Harper.
Well, I'll tell you what, because I love that character. And John Smith. Let's talk a little.
Smitty was my buddy. In those days, too, you probably read fan magazines and heard all this stuff about actors that didn't like each other and the fights on the set, and they didn't get along, they didn't talk. Not with us. We were pals. We had a good time together. Yeah, we'd go to lunch together every day. Our dressing rooms were side by side, and we had fun. We had a pact. We made a deal early on. Well, I knew John before we started the show.
Oh, that helped.
I had done a Cimarron City, and if you remember, he played that sheriff in it.
Stuart Whitman?
No. Cimarron City was anyway.
Anyway, yeah.
But he played, and the guy from Bonanza, Hoss, was in it. Don't you remember? That was
Dan Blocker.
George Montgomery. Cimarron City, and he played. I did one of those. But anyway, so we were friends, and we made a deal. We said that we would never ask for more money because all those actors were always raising hell about, I'm going to quit and this and that.
Yeah.
And we just decided we'd ask for bonuses. So every year we'd go up to the boss and say, we want a bonus, and we'd get a bonus and with no problems whatsoever. Anyway, that's Smitty. We had a good time together.
Oh, great plan.
Well, I want to thank everybody for watching. We got to thank Mr. Fuller.
Hey, my pleasure.
Thank you, buddy.
Excuse me.
Such an
my pleasure to be
honor.
on.
Oh, you're awesome. Thank you.
I worked with her for 4 years, and I've never kissed her hand.
Yeah, well, you're a lucky guy that worked with her for 4 years.
Good night, everybody.
Adios.
Adios, everybody.
Happy trails.
Well, hey, I think I'll sing a song called Cowboys Are My Weakness, because after all, it's Christmas time, right? And the best present of all is to have a cowboy kiss your hand or something fun like that. I'm looking at you. Well, you'll never hear me knocking an old pair of boots. A man who wears his Wranglers for a Sunday suit. The kind that ain't afraid to get some dirt on his hand. Bring your fresh daisies in a coffee can. I like a man to drive me around, pick up style. Tip his hat and wink at me, shoot me a smile. Take me two-stepping at the honky-tonk. That kind of man ain't hard to want, 'cause cowboys are my weakness.
I'm just singing now.
Living some down home, rugged sweetness, just a little bit outlaw and a little bit Jesus. Let me tell you, cowboys are my weakness. Well, I love to hear my name inside a Texas drawl. Man who takes the time to talk to me when I call. Might get a little rowdy, a little out of hand. But when he's around your mama, he says, yes, ma'am. So do, we're not a talker. He's tried and he's true. Honey, he's the salt of the earth, but if he's sweet on you, well, he'll treat you like you're the only woman alive. Saddle by saddle, the only way to ride. 'Cause cowboys are my weakness. Give me some down home,
I knew that too. I just didn't want to show you up.
I met Jesus in Texas, west of Abilene. On my knees one night I saw the light in my boots and jeans. Never thought I'd meet a friend like that. In my wildest dreams I met Jesus in Texas, west of Abilene. I don't see how a man who lived 2,000 years ago could find me down in Texas, south of Amarillo. He came all the way from a town called Bethlehem to show how much he loves me and cares for who I am. I met Jesus in Texas, west of Abilene. On my knees one night I saw the light in my boots and jeans. Never thought I'd meet a friend like that. In my wildest dreams I met Jesus in Texas, west of Abilene. Never thought I'd meet a friend like that. In my wildest dreams I met Jesus in Texas, west of Abilene.
We haven't got a plan, but I tell you, we could start with a Yuletide yodel. What do you think?
Go ahead.
Are you ready? After salsa and chips, can you yodel?
I try. Saddle up and riding through the cold December snow, sharing season tidings, ranch to ranch house as we go, swapping Christmas presents wrapped in burlap bags and strings with friends that we won't see again around the time next spring. Christmas greetings, bunkhouse meetings, old friends, great handshakes and howdies all around. Cowboys mingling, spurs jingling, rearing back and singing out a Yuletide yodel song. Ole, hey, ole, 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 hey, ole, ole, turkey roasting slowly, golden brown, stuffing filled, pumpkin pies and mincemeat cooling on the windowsill. All across the prairie, it's a joyous time of year, and every bunkhouse down the line is filled with Christmas cheer. Christmas greetings, bunkhouse meetings, old friends, great handshakes and howdies all around. Cowboys mingling, spurs jingling, rearing back and singing out a Yuletide yodel song. Ole, hey, ole, 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 hey, ole, 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 yeah.
So, till we meet again, good luck, God bless, and we'll see you at the Crossroads.
That kind of man ain't hard to want, 'cause